Hey everyone, it's Miss Spencer. Today we'll be finding the volume of composite figures with unit cubes. The objective for today is students will be able to find the volume of composite figures using unit cubes. Let's start with previewing some new vocabulary. Composite figure is going to be our only new vocabulary word for today. A composite figure is a figure that's made up of two or more smaller figures. So here we have a figure that looks like it's made up of two rectangles. Here, this could be rectangle A, and the smaller figure can be rectangle B. We could find the area of both of these rectangles and add them together to find the area of the composite figure. Here's another composite figure. We can also split this figure into two rectangular prisms. We could go sideways here, so we would have a top rectangular prism and a bottom, or we can go split it this way, so we have a rectangular prism on the left and a rectangular prism on the right. Finally, here's one more composite figure. This was made up of unit cubes. This is the type of composite figure we'll be working with today. Here you can see that if we draw a line in red here and down, we have two rectangular prisms made up of unit cubes. This one on the left is rectangular prism A, and this one on the right is rectangular prism B. We can find the volume of each of these rectangular prisms and then add them together. So let's start by finding the area of composite figures. Here we can see that we can separate this composite figure into two different rectangles. Notice the red line that appeared. Now we have a rectangle on the top, A, and a rectangle on the bottom, B. Remember that the area formula is length times width. So we're going to start by finding the area of rectangle A. The length is 5 centimeters and the width is 5 centimeters. So to find the area, we're going to multiply 5 centimeters times 5 centimeters. 5 times 5 is 25, and centimeters times centimeters is centimeters squared. So the area for rectangle A is 25 centimeters squared. Now let's find the area for rectangle B. The length is 7 centimeters and the width is 5 centimeters. So we're going to multiply 7 centimeters times 5 centimeters. 7 times 5 is 35, and centimeters times centimeters is centimeters squared. So the area for rectangle B is 35 centimeters squared. Now we can add the area of rectangle A and the area of rectangle B together to figure out the total amount of area for the composite figure. 25 centimeters squared plus 35 centimeters squared equals 60 centimeters squared. So the area of this composite figure is 60 centimeters squared. So now let's find the volume of a composite figure. Here we have a composite figure made up of unit cubes. First thing we can do is separate this figure into two rectangular prisms. Here we have a rectangular prism on the left, which is the prism A, and we have a rectangular prism on the right, which is rectangular prism B. What we can do is use the volume formula, which is length times width times height, to find the volume of each of these rectangular prisms and then add them together. So let's start by finding the volume of rectangular prism A. Here we see the length is 7 units, the width is 9 units, and the height is 2 units. So we can insert these dimensions into our formula. 7 units times 9 units times 2 units. Well, 7 times 9 is 63, and 63 times 2 is 126. Don't forget to multiply the units, so units times units times units is units cubed. So the volume of rectangular prism A is 126 units cubed. Now let's find the volume of rectangular prism B. The length is 2 units, the width is 3 units, and the height is 2 units. Let's use these dimensions and put them into our formula. We have 2 units times 3 units times 2 units. 2 units times 3 units is 6 units squared, and 6 units squared times 2 units is 12 cubic units. Now that we found the volume of each of these rectangular prisms, we can add the volumes together. So 126 cubic units plus 12 cubic units is 138 cubic units. The volume of our composite rectangular prisms are 138 cubic units. Now let's try another problem. Here, we're going to start by separating our composite figure into two rectangular prisms. The one on the left will be rectangular prism A, and the one on the right will be rectangular prism B. The volume formula is length times width times height. So we're going to find the volume of rectangular prism A on the left. The length is 7 units, the width is 4 units, and the height is 5 units. So we're going to put these dimensions into our formula. 7 units times 4 units is 28 units squared. 28 units squared times 5 units is 140 cubic units. So rectangular prism A is 140 cubic units. Now let's find the volume of rectangular prism B. The length is 8 units, the width is 3 units, and the height is 4 units. So we're going to put these dimensions into our formula. 8 units times 3 units times 4 units. 8 units times 3 units is 24 units squared, and 24 units squared times 4 units is 96 cubic units. So the volume of rectangular prism B is 96 cubic units. Now that we found the volume of each of our rectangular prisms, we can add the volumes together. 140 cubic units plus 96 cubic units is 236 cubic units. So the volume of a rectangular or of our composite figure is 236 cubic units. Let's try another together. Here, we're going to separate a composite figure into a rectangular prism on the left, which is A, and a rectangular prism on the right, which is B. Now we're going to use the volume formula of length times width times height to find the volume of our composite figure. Remember, we're going to start with rectangular prism A. The length is 8 units, the width is 2 units, and the height is 4 units. We're going to put these dimensions into our formula. 8 units times 2 units times 4 units. Well, 8 units times 2 units is 16 units squared. 16 units squared times 4 units is 64 cubic units. So there's 64 units used to create rectangular prism A. Now let's try rectangular prism B. Here, the length is 4 units, the width is 3 units, and the height is 7 units. So we're going to include these dimensions into our volume formula. 4 units times 3 units times 7 units. We're going to multiply 4 units times 3 units, which is 12 units squared, and 12 units squared times 7 units is 84 cubic units. So there's 84 unit cubes that are used to make our rectangular prism B. Now that we have the volume of each of our rectangular prisms, we're going to add the volumes together. So 64 cubic units plus 84 cubic units equals 148 cubic units. The volume of our composite figure is 148 cubic units.